Welcome back to Telling Stories. I'm your host, Mr. Story, and today we'll be reading 10 Rules of Being a Superhero by Deb Palutti. Rule number 1. A superhero must always respond to a call for help, even if the odds are against him. Rule number 2. Saving the day is messy, but everyone understands. Nobody said saving the day was glamorous. Moms don't understand rule number 2. Rule number 3. Every superhero has at least one superpower. That's what makes him super. Captain Magma has 3. He's really strong. He has lava vision. It's true, but I do wish I could fly. And a friendly personality. Rule number 4. A superhero must use his power in a good way. Cookies for all! My, he is super strong. Mine, all mine. Villains use their powers in a bad way. Rule number 5. Sometimes superheroes make a lot of noise. Stomp, pow, crash, wham! Not everyone appreciates this rule. Let's play outside. Rule number 6. A superhero needs a tasty snack to be in top form. Excuse me. Rule number 7. Superheroes must rest so that they can recharge and be ready when the time comes to save the day. Help! Like now. Help! Hello! Excuse me. Yoo-hoo! Could you give me a hand? Rule number 8. A superhero is always brave. What's that buzzing sound? Well, almost always. Oh dear, don't be afraid of the bee. I'm not, but Captain Magma is. Am not. Rule number 9. The goal of a superhero is to save innocent victims. Not this worm, Mr. Bird. With no thought for his own safety. Uh-oh. I can fly. This is awkward. Rule number 10. Every superhero needs a sidekick, because saving the day is more fun with a friend. Thanks, Lava Boy. Anytime, Captain Magma. Away in My Airplane by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated by Henry Fisher. Riding along in my airplane. Over the clouds and through the rain. Riding along in my airplane. Sometimes I meet a bird way up high in the sky, flying almost as fast as I fly, but not as high. Riding along in my airplane. Out of the sunlight and into the rain. Then out of the clouds and sun again, riding along in my airplane. Down below the people go, very small and very slow. They look like bugs and ants and flies. I wonder if they realize what they look like to my eyes. Riding along in my airplane. I wave to the sun. I shout to the rain. Then with the roar of my motors that drowns me out, I dash straight up in the air and wheel about. I plunge through the sunlight. I hurl through the rain. Then I glide down to the earth in my airplane. Hey Mama Goose by Jane Breskin Zelbin, illustrated by Emily Cholat. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She cried, "Hey Mama Goose, what should I do? My family is growing and with it my fears that a shoe isn't roomy enough for my dears." Mama Goose said, "Old woman, you need a new place. I know just the right cottage with plenty of space. Pack up your bags and lace your shoe tight and move everyone to the home of Snow White." Snow White and the dwarfs left to live with a maid who is known far and wide for her long yellow braid. Since the dwarves are away, there's now 7 beds with 7 plump pillows for 7 small heads. Rapunzel invited Snow White to her castle, complaining to her, "My hair is a hassle." She rented a room from a gnome who had said, "I can spin your hair into pure golden thread." Rumpelstiltskin remarked, "I'm tired of tresses. The time is now right for changing addresses." He yearned to spin sugar, not spools of fine metal, so he sought out the cottage of Hansel and Gretel. "Take it!" cried Hansel, explaining their woes. "The sweets made us too fat to fit in our clothes." They jogged up and down, determined to shed the pounds they had gained from the iced gingerbread. Hansel and Gretel, hungry for greens, salads of parsley, lettuce, and beans, snacked in a garden eating their fill, when down tumbled Jack, followed by Jill. Jill's knee was scraped and Jack held his crown as they searched high and low for a haven in town. Mama Goose said to Jill, "I'm surely not bluffing. This house is resistant to huffing and puffing." The brave little pigs, with a yen for exploring, hiked to a palace that rumbled with snoring. Through briars and roses a princess awoke, to an oink and a grunt when the evil spell broke. Sleeping Beauty opened her eyes with a start. "Prince Charming, you're not, no pig wins my heart." She raced to a bungalow built by 3 bears, with 3 bowls of porridge and also 3 chairs. The family of bears had traveled away to drum up some business for opening day of their soon-to-be famous hot porridge stand in a vacant worn shoe in tale-telling land. Customers came from the farthest of places. They chattered at tables and swung on the laces. They savored not only the porridge so hot, but also this excellent picnicking spot. Next door, the old woman took one look at the scene and gathered her brood, thinking, "What can this mean?" From the looks on their faces, the old woman could see that every last child was as homesick as she. This house is no better, and in some ways it's worse than the shoe that I treated like some kind of curse. Parting the curtain, she surveyed the pack, then hollered to all, "It's time to go back!" With bowls washed and stacked, the bears shut down the store. All returned to the homes they had lived in before. They sat at their hearths and put kettles on, and couldn't recall why they had ever gone. "Why, our shoe is enormous," the old woman said, as her children lay squeezed like sardines in their beds. She rocked in her chair and gazed at her crew, and sighed to herself, "There's no place like shoe." Not Your Typical Dragon by Dan Barrell, illustrated by Tim Bowers. Crispin Blaze was born into a proud family of fire-breathing dragons. "Every blaze breathes fire," explained his father. "I breathe fire, your mother breathes fire. Tomorrow, when you turn 7, you'll breathe fire too." The little dragon imagined all the forests he would burn down. He dreamed of all the castles he would destroy. He also considered boiling water to make tea, but he didn't tell his father that. The next day, Crispin sat among family and friends as a big cake was brought to the table. "Who will light the birthday candles?" his mother asked. "I will," declared Crispin. He could feel a tingling inside his tummy, but when he opened his mouth, fire did not come out. Whipped cream came out. "Crispin," shouted his father, "dragons breathe fire." "What will the neighbors think?" worried his mother. "I love whipped cream," said his little sister Ashley. The little dragon was whisked off to the doctor the very next day. "Please fix my son," demanded Crispin's father. "What seems to be the problem?" asked the doctor. Crispin opened his mouth and breathed, but fire did not come out. Band-Aids came out. "I see," said the doctor gravely. "Dragons should breathe fire," insisted Crispin's father. "No, we were low on Band-Aids," mumbled the nurse. The doctor sent Crispin home with medicine. He swallowed 2 teaspoons before going to school. "It will help you become a real dragon," his father said with a wink. After school, Crispin joined his first fire-breathing practice. One by one, little dragons aimed their fiery breath at stacks of logs until they burst into flames. Crispin stepped up confidently. He could feel the medicine bubbling in his belly, but when he opened his mouth, fire did not come out. Marshmallows came out. "Dragons breathe fire!" yelled the coach. "Isn't that right, class?" The other dragons didn't answer. They were too busy looking for pointy sticks for marshmallow roasting. "I guess I'm not a real dragon," Crispin thought. He worried that his family would be disappointed, so he ran away from home. The world can be a scary place for a little dragon who can't breathe fire. Crispin found a dark cave. "I'll be a fireless dragon all by myself. I won't bother anyone, and no one will bother me." An hour later, he had a visitor. "I am Sir George," squeaked a thin, shiny knight. "Show yourself, dragon." Crispin shuffled out of the cave. The thin, shiny knight held up his thin, shiny sword. "Do your worst, dragon." Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Soap bubbles came out. "Don't you breathe fire, dragon?" Crispin shook his head. "I can't." Sir George moaned. "But my father insisted I find a fire-breathing dragon. It even says here in my book that your typical dragon breathes fire." "I'm not your typical dragon," Crispin explained. Sir George sighed. "I can't go home." "Me neither," Crispin nodded. But then he had an idea. "Maybe your book could tell us what to do." "Of course." Sir George searched through the pages. "It says it's probably just your diet." Sir George fed Crispin spicy curry, scorching chili, and blistering salsa. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Red party streamers came out. "At least they're the right color," said Sir George kindly. Sir George searched through the book again. "Aha! It says it's probably your attitude." Sir George showed Crispin how to look mean and angry enough to breathe fire. Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Soft, cuddly teddy bears came out. Said Sir George. "We may have to take a step backward." "It's no use," Crispin sighed. "I'm just not your typical dragon." But Sir George was not ready to give up.
Aha! The book says you're too stressed.
Sir George made Crispin close his eyes while he described a quiet, relaxing day at the ocean.
Do you feel calm? Now imagine 100 shiny knights attacking you.
Crispin opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. Beach balls came out.
Well, that's just plain weird.
Secretly, Sir George was glad that Crispin couldn't breathe fire. He liked the little dragon and didn't want to fight him. Crispin liked the shiny knight too, but he missed his parents. Sir George, it's getting dark. I want to go home. The shiny knight patted him on the back.
Don't worry, little dragon. I will take you.
Crispin's parents were relieved when he arrived home safely. Sir George was about to say goodbye when they heard a shout.
There you are, boy. Why on earth are you playing with this fire-breathing dragon?
He's my friend, Father,
whispered Sir George.
And besides, he doesn't breathe fire.
A dragon that doesn't breathe fire? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard.
The shiny man laughed. Crispin's father stormed out of the house.
My son is not silly. He may not breathe fire, but I certainly do.
Crispin's father let out a powerful spray of flames.
Do your worst, dragon,
declared the shiny man, but then the flames scorched the lawn. That's enough, honey, said Crispin's mother. The flames singed the fence. You've made your point, dear. Now stop showing off, she scolded. Then the flames ignited the roof. Crispin's father panicked.
I can't stop breathing fire!
You'll burn our house down, cried his mother. You'll burn down the whole neighborhood. Dragons came running from all directions. They knew how to start fires, but no one knew how to stop them. Crispin suddenly felt a tingling in his tummy. He felt a bubbling in his belly. He opened his mouth, but fire did not come out. A gush of water shot out. Crispin aimed the water at his father's flames. He saved his home, and he even saved the shiny man, who wasn't looking so shiny anymore. Hooray for Crispin! Everyone shouted. On Crispin's next birthday, there was a big party. Family and friends came from all over the land. Sir George and his family came too. Lots of dragons were dancing. Crispin stood with his mouth open wide. Fire still did not come out. Music came out instead.
Your son,
said an old uncle to Crispin's father.
He's not your typical dragon, is he?
No, replied Crispin's father proudly.
My son is something special.
And then he jumped up and danced to Crispin's music too. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you enjoyed the stories today, and if you did, please leave a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and help support the authors. They're all listed in the description box down below. If you'd like to check out another video, you can do so here. And until next time, I've been Mr. Story, you've been at Telling Stories, and we'll see you in the next video.